Welcome to Behind the Word, a show that helps you recognize the power, codes, and frequencies behind your words. I am your host, alchemist, and teacher, Kelly Castle. I'm launching this show because we are at a point in human history where I believe we need as many people as possible to fully express their unique, beautiful, quirky, smart, loving, caring, imaginative selves, to embody divinity. That means learning how to manifest. That means doing self-work, self-healing. That means studying and practicing the lessons passed down to us from Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, Jesus, the Indian gurus and Egyptians, and many more. Right now is a make or break moment for humanity. Sink or swim, zero-sum game. It is time to step up. It is time to realize the incredible divine being you truly are. I'm going to help in your journey realizing this divinity by teaching you what you are actually putting out into the universe every time you think, say, or write a word. There are frequencies and codes like the zeros and ones you saw going through that intro screen, embedded in words. It's actually embedded in everything that we do. These codes embody energies like love, curiosity, freedom, wisdom, joy, expression, but they also can embody the dualistic nature, the polarized nature, the fear, the anxiety, the sadness, the guilt, the grief, the shame. So it is really important to be aware of which side of that duality you're putting out into the universe. I have found from my own experience that when I use words consciously, meaning with awareness, I can focus my energy with laser-like precision towards the things I am manifesting or amplifying, and it happens faster. So this is my offering to you. If you're enjoying this show, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are enjoying this show, hit the like button at the end. Leave me a comment about what you learned, what you enjoyed. Perhaps there's a word you would like to explore even more. And if you would like to know more about the blueprint that you came onto this earth with, we can look at your astrology chart and your name numerology to look at what energies you came here with that can help you, and where you might be challenged, and we can brainstorm some ways to get through those challenges. Okay, so today is a very special episode. This whole week, actually, I'm very excited about this week because from the intro, and if you've been following on Instagram, you probably know that this week is themed all around the Matrix, since the Matrix for the Revolution is being released this week. I already bought my ticket. I'm so excited to go see it on Wednesday, and that's also why I've not put out all of the words, because I am pulling words from the Matrix, and I'm pretty sure I know what words I am going to use, but we're going to go through this journey together. I hope you enjoyed. The intro was from the intro of this new movie. I hope you got it pumped up. And today we are starting with a bigger one. A big one. We are starting with the word reality. So let's look at a couple of quotes that are out there in the world that are famous for this word reality. Now, to start off, in the Matrix, Morpheus says to Neo in the very first movie, "What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, taste, and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. He also says, have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were sure was so real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world? It's a very good question. I know that I have experienced this quote before. When I was in graduate school many years ago, those were two of the toughest years of my life. Now, they were wonderful for school, for what I was learning, for the work that I was getting to do. I was making lots of money in grad school, but my personal life, I was at the beginning stages of going through my spiritual awakening. And that tends to be, if you talk to a lot of people who go through their spiritual awakenings, that tends to be a very dark time in life. So personally, that was a really rough time. And I didn't yet have the tools and the skills for how to deal with all of the emotions and things that were coming up. So during those 2 years, I'm a Cancer rising, so I value my sleep and my comforts already, but I literally felt like I led a happier life in my dreams than in my waking days during those 2 years. And I would look forward to sleep so much because I'm a very, very visual dreamer. Sometimes I wake up exhausted from my dreams, actually, if I have really crazy dreams. And in those 2 years, like I would dream about going horseback riding and having the love of my life, and just all these amazing things happened in my dreams. And it was actually much better for me to be in my dreams than to be awake. And now I am even more so exploring different dimensions of reality in meditation. And now that I have such a solid meditation practice, the layers of reality and dimensions that I have access to in a very awake, conscious state, meaning I have awareness of what is going on, that I'm able to control my body, my thoughts in my meditations and dreams as much as in real life. The barriers between being physically awake as we are doing right now and in my dream or meditation states are getting very blurry. This is where it gets fun though. This is where you really get to start exploring what is reality. And that's our big question for today. What is real? Let's look. I want to show you. We're going to look each day at some different quotes and fun things from the Matrix. When Neo says to Morpheus, "What are you trying to tell me, that I can dodge bullets?" There's a really fun filter on Instagram, by the way, where you can do this. And yes, he does learn how to dodge bullets with his mind. Is that something that you've thought about in your reality? Let's look at some other quotes. Go to here first. The syntactical nature of reality, the real secret of magic, is that the world is made of words. And if you know the words that the world is made of, you can make of it whatever you wish. That is what we teach on this show. That is why I am doing this show. That quote was by Terence McKenna. The science delusion is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to be filled in. That's a pretty big theme that we are going through right now, right? There are polarized views of what the science is really saying. Basically, you can create your experience through your beliefs about yourself and the nature of reality. Another way to understand this is to realize that you create your experiences through your expectations. That's an interesting word to use, expectations. What you expect, meaning something that you expect to happen in the future, that you can see in your mind happening in your future. That was said by Seth Godin. I love Seth's work. I highly recommend going to his website, reading his blogs, some of his books, listening to a podcast. I love Seth's work. So that brings us back to, what are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets? What is your reality? What is real for you? Let's look and see what the etymology of this word, where does it come from? Okay, I found this fun little flowchart here. Reality etymology. English word reality comes from the Latin ius, alias, alice, and re. Now the re, it means, if we scroll down here, it means about, regarding, with reference to. I like that. Re, with reference to something else, meaning mirroring something else. You compare this to that, and that's how you're able to explain what is going on. Now we have these suffixes that the word came from. We see up here, we've got the re and the alias, the ius. It kind of morphs through different usages, a French version, and then we end up at the English version at the end. We've also gotten that Ellis used to form adjectives of relationships from nouns or numerals. Words and numbers. Look at that. Okay. Then we have the Latin realis. A realist in general, actual, substantial, that actually exists. Existing in fact, having objective existence. Okay. So objective, that could be tangible, that could be concerned with or relating to things, relating to, consisting of, being immovable property. Interesting. That would be an interesting one to debate. I was just reading, kind of rereading, it came out again this week, the story of the yogi, I believe it's up in the Himalayan mountains, who put his handprint into the wall of a cave, and you can still go and see this handprint. How did he move that mountain, that rock, literally, to put his hand into it? Is that real? Did that actually happen? How did he do that? Reality, real estate. Real estate. Okay. So we've got something tangible there. Loyalty, devotion, a real entity, event, or other fact. An individual observer's own subjective perception. Okay. So up here, we're already talking about mirrors. We're talking about things in relation to another, right? That's the only way that we are actually able to use words and explain things, is that there is something else that we can compare it to. So up here in this realis, we have the word objective existence, but now down here, we have an individual observer's own subjective perception of that which is real. We see this in court cases all the time, right? And science has even shown now how people can be made to believe things that they weren't guilty, but they plead guilty. And after a number of years, if someone has been hammering them for long enough, they come to believe that they actually did murder someone or commit the crime when they actually didn't. Is that real now? The entirety of all that is real, the state of being actual or real. Let's see if we can find the word real. Let's look up the definition of real. Let's see. Let's use dictionary.com. True. Not merely ostensible, nominal, or apparent. Existing or occurring as fact. Actual rather than imaginary, ideal, or fictitious. Being an actual thing, having objective existence, not imaginary. Again, how do we know what is imaginary and what is not? How can you tell someone that the experience that they had in their meditation or dream wasn't real? This is where it all gets very blurry very quickly nowadays. Now this whole meta experience is coming out. The Web 3.0 is coming out. So people are literally going to be going into their headsets and sitting in this metaverse. You can now literally, you can go and buy a plot of land in the metaverse, which are going for millions of dollars, by the way. You can sit at home and go to somewhere you've wanted to travel in the world, in the metaverse, and have that experience now sitting in your living room here with a pair of headsets on, and almost have, I'm sure they're going to get it there, where you can have a full body sensory experience of actually being there, except you haven't left your living room. So again, I ask the question, what is real? What is reality? The lines are getting very blurry here very quickly. To me, my reality is what I make of it. Whatever I have programmed into this brain, for good or for bad, and that is why I do so much work digging into my subconscious about what is actually down there. If I am not manifesting something that I really want right now in my life, why? What is programmed down in there that is shaping my reality, the thing that I can touch and feel, if we're using that as a definition, actual, tangible. So let's go and look and see. We'll come back to some quotes in a minute here. I have some other quotes. Let's start digging into the numerology to see what is reality. What does the numerology say about reality? Okay, let's get our numbers down here. So we have, put this down a little bit too. So we have 9, 5, 1, 3, 9, 2, and 7. 9, 5, 1, 3. Okay, cool. 2, 7. Let's put the full numbers. So we've got 18, 5, 1. This would be 12. This would be 9. This is 20 and 25. Okay, let's add these up first. So we've got 20, 40, 50, 60. Right? 20, 40, 50, 60. Okay, let's pull out the tens. So we have 9, 10, 20, 25, 30. That's it. 90. Then we don't have a number. Okay, so it's a 9. Plain and simple. Let's see. Did I get that? Yeah. Okay. And then we add up over here. We have, we can do it either way. 9, 10, 19, 20, 21, 27, 30, 35. I am messing up somewhere. Let's see here. Just turn that back on. Okay, we've got 9, 18, 20, 27, 20, 29, 30. Okay, there we go. 36. It's like, I know I'm messing up somewhere. You can always check by making sure that this number here, whenever you take the digital root of whatever the full number is, this number, that it adds up to the same as this digital root here. Oftentimes these numbers here will not be the same, but you do want the digital root ultimately to be the same. Okay, so we've got a lot of creativity happening. We have we have ultimately this total divine trinity happening, which, as I am discovering right now, reading Robert Edward Grant's Philomath, 369 are three of our most powerful numbers, our most powerful creator numbers. And they are numbers that we use to check and see, and we are able to put together different elements. This pattern comes up constantly when we find the most pure sense of creation. That's a very roundabout way of putting all of the math that I've been studying and reading about in the last couple of weeks. But 369 represents the divine trinity. And of course, 9 is our last digit in our numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it represents, it encompasses all of the numbers before it. And that's very important. So at its core, reality is a word of creation in all senses. We have the physical creator, the artist, the singer, the vocal creator. We'll say physical. This also represents joy. We have the vocal, and then we have the dramatist, putting all of those things together on stage. This is also a number of family. And then this is a universal service number. So this word reality encompasses all of creation. And even with this 90 here, this is amplified universal service. Let's go and look at, I want to look at this R that we have, and perhaps even read a little bit more about 9. So I'm going to go down here. Okay, let's look at this. The letter R. Reish is the 20th letter of the Hebrew alphabet and is used for the consonant R. And you can see I love in this book, Numerology, the hidden meaning of numbers and letters. I love how she showed the evolution of how the letters came to be through all of the different societies. So R is the 6th of the 7 double letters, and its opposites are peace and strife. I found that interesting. I'm going to write that down here. Let's write that in orange. Peace versus strife. For good or for evil. This letter is concerned with a man's spiritual unfoldment. Aha! Anytime we see a Y at the end of a word, that person, that word, that thing, this Y represents a crossroads. It represents a choice. To the left is downfall. That's anger, resentment, stress, all of those sorts of emotions. To the right, though, that's where you get the gifts. That's where you get spiritual mastery and wisdom. So, in your reality, you have a choice of what you want your reality to look like. Okay, going back to R. The man who lives only for material things does not waken his spiritual centers, and true peace is unknown to him. Again, if we... do I have this? Let me see if I have this in here. Yes, I do. Okay, let me just show it to you, okay? Here's the English version of it. Okay, you see on the left, you see the tyrant, violence, deceit, painstaking, the earth plane, the material plane. Whereas if you go to the right, you become the philosopher, wise man. It's the element of water, where you learn to go with the flow. You find peace in that flow. The man who seeks spiritual unfoldment finds in his meditations the peace which passes all understandings. The spiritual center for this is found in the head, a small gland in the forehead area that is known by mystics to be the dwelling place of a man's spirit and his point of contact with the highest planes. It is called the pineal gland because of its resemblance to a pine cone. We have talked about this many times before on this show, especially if you go back and you listen to the brain episode. Some call it the third eye. This is again the pineal gland. For when it is opened, spiritual illumination takes place and all knowledge is available to us. It is the organ of the spiritual mind. So what they are saying here is that if you tap into a spiritual reality, if you use spirituality, you use some form of meditation, you are going to be able to get the 9, all the joys of life that you want. The 9 is getting it all. This is a wonderful, especially in tarot, like if you get the 9 of Pentacles, great card to get. It means you get all the things. Okay, let's go back to R. Let's see. The interesting thing is that R is a picture of the pineal gland. Oh man, I just get so excited when this stuff pops up. Okay, let's draw our little... Let's write that this is the pineal gland. Okay. A small rounded body with the 2 cords attached that connect it to the brain. As the 20th letter, Reish signifies death and resurrection. When the spiritual centers are awakened, there is a tingling sensation that raises the vibratory rhythm so high that an exaltation of consciousness is experienced. To one who has reached this level of awareness, death has no sting. O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin. Death totals 20. The 20 is not a finishing number, so death is not the end. It has been noted, though, that the person who has a prominent 20 in their chart are inclined to fear death unless the fear has been replaced with a faith. Let's see. Let's keep going. So they talk more about death and resurrection. When the gods borrowed the sign for Reish, the Greeks, they changed its name to Rho, but kept it as R, their constant. They changed the glyph by reversing it, and the Romans added the leg at the right. R begins with a vertical line on the left, which represents the upright man. Let's draw that over here. So we have this vertical man. The loop at the top is the head, and it stands for the ability to think. Okay, so we've got the mind happening here. The head can think. It's also where the pineal gland sits. To draw in knowledge, to have creative thought, that 369. At this point, it resembles the letter P, which is a symbol of creative force in a paternal way, a more masculine way. The added leg at the right is a picture of a man with 1 foot forward, showing that he is moving ahead. Aha! Moving ahead. This depicts activity in the person's life. Since the leg is attached directly to the head, it means to move ahead with one's thinking. Esoterically, it means to raise one's thinking above the purely material and seek the spiritual. So if you take just the word real on its own, 9513, we have 18 here. Again, a 9. We add the ity, still saying 9. It adds creativity. That ity at the end, 927. Again, this is 18, 9. We have lots of 9s here. The 18 is a number of success, of doing. It's a very strong person. Lots of perseverance in that 18 number. So the reality adds motion. That ity to the end of it. And you do that by, let's go back to here. I just need to put this into we use this so often. I need to put it into GoodNotes. You do this by taking the spiritual path, that why. You have the choice. You can go to the left, you can fall into the abyss, or you can go to the right. You can learn more about this, by the way, by reading John Dee's The Hieroglyphic Monad. I highly recommend it if you are interested in learning more about this. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. 9s are intellectual. Here we tend to find teachers, deep thinkers. R is the most understanding of all the letters. That's an interesting word we can add to here. Understanding. Do you understand the reality that you are in currently? Do you understand if you're in a dream? Do you understand when you're in meditation? Do you understand when you are in your awake state? Let's see. Okay. Because 9 finishes the cycle, it is an initiation. That's that number 18 as well. The completion of the old, passing tests, and making ready for the new. Being the 9 letter makes R quite emotional, which is that number 9, honest and unselfish, right? Something that's true, if it's reality, it's going to be unselfish. This is where kind of the contrast lie with something that is true. There isn't emotion with it. It just is. And if that's what we are saying that reality, it is truth. We experience the emotions by what we are experiencing in relation to. But if it is truth, it is. There is so much power with R that can be used for either constructive or destructive purposes that man must use his head to discriminate in its use. Let's see if either in our outward persona or our soul's urge, let's see what comes through here for these two. Okay, let's pull out. We've got soul's urge. We've got, and we'll do both with the Y and without the Y. So we've got 5. Let me erase some of this. Okay. We've got 5, 1. Let's do with and then without. 5, 1, 9, and 7. Then without is just 5, 1, 9. Then we'll do with and without over here as well. So we've got 9, 3, 2. Okay. With the Y, we've got 7 here. Without it, we've got 9, 3, and 2. Okay, so we've got 10, 17, 22. Aha. And here we've got 15. And then here we've got 10, 19, 20, 21. And without, we've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so what do we see when we analyze this? First, we see we have a master number, 22, a very important master number. Interesting. We have a karmic number, 14, come up. Okay, so with the Y, let's look at the two soul's urges first. Let's do this in green. With the Y, this is the master architect, which is what we are creating our own realities, right? You, with that Y, if you take this journey here and you go that direction, you are going to become a master of your own reality. And you're going to be able to manifest all the things that you want. Let's see what happens without. Without, we've got this 15-6. So this is a body, a person, place, or a thing. The 5, though, it's a very curious number. It's someone who is fighting for freedom and isn't necessarily paying attention to how they are coming across in the world. They just want to go and do and learn about everything, and they don't know everything yet. So the 5s can get into some trouble. Very different energy than the master architect, who understands, is aware. And the 22, because it's 2 11s, 11 is the number of the psychic intuitive. The master architect uses his intuition and his spiritual knowledge to form his world. Whereas the 5 doesn't have that wisdom yet. He's just doing. It's just the self doing to build a body. That's it. You haven't gotten to the 8, 9, the 7, 8, 9 yet. 7 wisdom, 8 success, 9. So it's kind of like if you don't have that Y, you fall short. Let's see what happens in the outward persona. If we put the Y, which actually these two, let's do this in a bright color so that we can see. These two go together, and then these two go together. So we have someone who is quiet, a partner. 2 represents the mirror, the polarity. Using the self. 2, 3, create. It's also a very joyful number. So if you've recognized what's in the mirror, then you can get yourself to something that's happy and pretty. You want to see something pretty in the mirror, right? Something that's pleasing to the eye. Now, if we are the master architect, let's look at that 14-5 number. Yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's look at 14-5. So, regardless, we do see 5 pop up, and it is the second letter and number in our word. We have the 5 here, and we have the 5 pop up here. Let's see, this 14-5, okay? This is a karmic number. There are lessons to be learned, or there will be accidents, losses in business and in friendships. Now, remember, if we are operating under the reality, the view of the world that you are here on this earth in an incarnation, kind of stuck in a karmic loop until you learn all your lessons, you clear off the karma. This makes sense. The 14 must learn self-control of all physical appetites and tempers. They can become too involved in the physical sense pleasures that could bring about health problems. The 14s have sharp mental faculties. Okay. So they're smart. They're quick. That's what the R represents, right? It has to use its brain and enormous energy. Helps them a great deal to study philosophical truths. That word truth is coming out again. To balance their emotional energies. Yes. Okay. So remember, the 9 can be very emotional. That's at the root of this number. So you need to balance emotions and body. We could even say that the 3 is the base of emotions. And the 6 is the body. Need to balance emotions and body. And that's how you become a master architect, right? You learn, you gain wisdom about how to do these things. The 14s are enticed by anything they can feel and bring them a moment's joy, that number 3, and fun. They are easy and will wed on impulse and later regret it. In Genesis, it is the serpent who tempts Eve. To us, a serpent is a snake, and snake totals 14. Its full number is 50, which shows it to be highly intellectual, that number 5. A sage is one who has gained complete control of the senses and is on the spiritual path. Let's write that word down. Sage. It begins with S, which is a picture of the serpent of wisdom and shows the path to be anything but easy. That's kind of funny. Something's coming through. I've even kind of been getting a ping in my head. I've never seen it do that before. That's kind of interesting. We are on to something here. The first vowel A shows it as a leader with a good mind. So we can say here, the first vowel, the E, is someone who is intellectual. And let's look. How many? Okay. we'll come to that in just a second. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, other words, joy and work. That work totals to 22-4. That's interesting. Toward achieve the work, when we work towards and achieve fulfillment. That 4 is something we have earned, and that is what brings the individual joy in the real sense. Also, joy has the full number of 50, which is a number endowed with intellectual quality. Okay, so what we're getting here so far, let's do this one, is that to experience the reality that you really desire, you have to be an intellectual. You have to use your brain, this thing that's sitting up here. Tap into that pineal gland. You have a choice whether you want to, let me go to here, which path you want to take. You always have a choice in reality. Left, right. Spiritual, not spiritual. Along the way, you're going to have to work through some karma. If you want to become this master architect, there's going to be karma to clear out. And you're going to have to use your intellect, that number 5 that keeps popping up, to balance the emotions in the body. Now, when we take away the Y, it's not a bad thing here. These numbers in the middle, the 15-6 and the 21-3, they just aren't as strong, powerful numbers as when you use the 22-4 and the 14-5. You're going to experience much more heightened experiences using the Y there. We also see Okay. We also see here an undertow of this word. The flavor in the food that you don't know what makes it so good, that secret ingredient that grandmother won't share with you until she dies, is 7. The habits of this word require wisdom. At its core, for you to have the reality that you want, you need to tap into wisdom, learned through experience, learned through balancing the emotions in the body, becoming the sage, becoming the master architect of your reality. There is wisdom in this word. Now, it looks like, what's interesting, I think we have all the numbers in here. We have 1. We have 2 is a very small number in this. We have the 2 and the T. Oh, okay. We have the 22-4, but we really see the, that's 22. We have 2. We have 3. We have 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this number, this letter, word, this word, combination of letters and numbers really encompasses all. Again, what is all? What is real? What dimension are you living in? Let's just go and finish up with some quotes that I found. Okay, here are some fun quotes on reality. Reality is that which, when you stop believing in it, doesn't go away. Okay, so it is tangible. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Albert Einstein. John Lennon. Reality leaves a lot to the imagination. That word imagination coming up a lot today. Everything you can imagine is real. We'll have to explore that word at some point. Imagination and imagine. Reality is the leading cause of stress amongst those in touch with it. I like this one, Dr. Seuss. You know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams. I like that one. There are some people who live in a dream world and there are some who face reality. And then, if you take the spiritual path, there are those who turn one into the other. I think we're going to leave it on that quote for today. I think that we have done a pretty good job of exploring what this word means, how you can hack reality. Of course, I would advise you to go and look at some of our other words that are up. We have brain, we have heart, mind, body, and spirit. So if you have been wondering, what is the mind? What is brain and heart coherence? How do I really manifest? We have explored all of those words thus far on this show. And this show is really an exploration of reality for me. So I am here as with a beginner's mind to see what comes out of this just as you are. I am not a know-it-all in this situation. I want to find out what is buried in there. What don't I see yet? What don't I have awareness to bring light to the word, to the situation. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I am so grateful that I get to bring you this information. If you would like to know more, you can go and watch different episodes. Follow on Instagram Behind the Word, followed by all the numbers if you just start typing it in. And if you learned something from the episode today, please share the episode with a friend, send one of the words on Instagram to a friend. There's lots of different ways. If you feel called to do so, you can donate to the show. That helps me be able to bring you more of this information and content, go deeper with it. I love I can sit and do research all day long, but I also have lots of other things to do. And finally, if you want to know more about your own words that you came here with, your astrology chart that you came here with, we can look at that as well in a reading. So sign up at the Calendly link below. I can't wait to keep going this week since we are exploring words from the Matrix. Yes, we will get to Matrix at some point this week. So keep an eye out for those. And peace, love, and blessings, friends. Use your words consciously. I will see you next time.